Hello, welcome.
Hi.
Breakfast all day. Christy Lemire, Matt Atchity.
Hello.
We are talking about The Report.
The Report.
It's time to talk about The Report.
So this is based on the true story of the investigation into the CIA's use of torture on detainees after 9/11. And it's based on the findings of a 6,700-page report that was 5 years in the making. And Adam Driver stars as this guy, Daniel J. Jones, who...
A real person.
A real person. Everyone here is a real person. Annette Bening is Dianne Feinstein. And he has been tasked by Senator Feinstein to begin this investigation because all of the tapes have been destroyed. Right, the tapes of what all happened, like at Guantanamo, for example, have been destroyed,
right, and all these other black sites,
right. And so he has to go through like 1 million pages of documents,
right,
in order to find out what exactly happened at these black sites.
All these, and it's all CIA internal documents, emails and memos and internal reports.
But the CIA has not allowed any of its employees to be interviewed for this process. So he has, and he can't take anything home with him, and he can't make any copies. And so he has to go into a SCIF, the secure room, in a monolithic building outside of Washington, D.C.
with no windows.
No windows.
No door. Oh, wait.
It's just a bunch of desks.
Right, with a separate server.
Yeah, and he had to go, and so he becomes increasingly obsessed. Like the more that he looks into this and the more that he finds that not only did the torture not actually result in any helpful information, but that like people died, and also that there was an internal CIA report that found those very things that was covered up.
Right.
So it's very dense.
Yeah, it's very dense, and you know the basics are, the report says not only did this not work, the CIA knew that it didn't work early on. But they kept doing it for a long time. And in some cases, it caused deaths. And in some cases, it may have actually been counterproductive and gave false information. I was relatively impressed with this movie. I think I liked it a lot more than you did.
You sure did.
I think Adam Driver's really good in this. This movie really, 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 really wants to be Spotlight. And it's
or All the President's Men,
and it's not. But I think that it gets close. I think it gets close enough, and I think because it does a good job of leading you through what was happening, even though it happened so long ago, and still making the point of like, look, this is why we're still bringing this up, because really, kind of nobody really suffered any consequences for this, which is infuriating.
Which is kind of horrifying. So it is. And so Scott Z. Burns wrote and directed this, and he is a Steven Soderbergh collaborator, and he's in this tough spot where he's trying to tell a story that is not inherently cinematic, right? It's people looking at computer screens, and he eventually employs this flashback structure to bring to life these atrocities that Adam Driver's character is reading about and learning more about. And there's definitely a color scheme at work to try to vary the tone in terms of like the stuff that happens in DC is, cool blues and grays, and it's very drab. And then when you see what's happening at these black sites, it's like very garish, lurid oranges and greens. Right. But so much of this film is just people sitting around offices, sitting around conference room tables in suits, explaining things to each other and debating policy. And it's really talky, and it's really dense, and kind of a slog. It's all of 2 hours long. And yes, the flashback scenes to the examples of torture are horrifying, and they are tense, especially you see waterboarding. It's very hard to watch. Right. You learn that like one person was waterboarded like 183 times, and clearly that's a lot.
Right.
It didn't even result in anything that was
among
useful.
other things that they were doing.
Right. Sleep deprivation, and you see men naked and hooded and chained up and having to endure blaring music, and You see it all, you
Right.
do, and that is tense. But so much of the film is just kind of drab and kind of dull. And Adam Driver, to his credit, being who he is and being as incredibly versatile as he is. I mean, just in these couple of months alone between this and Marriage Story and the new Star Wars that's coming out, he'll find an unexpected avenue into a line of dialogue. And he has these giant reams of like jargony stuff to deliver, like monologues where he is getting increasingly worked up. But I just found it really dull.
Yeah, I didn't find it that dull. I was more interested in it because I found a lot of it like he gets to a point where he's ready to kind of deliver most of the report. He's found, what seems like everything he's going to find, even though, it keeps going on. And it's, although some people look at him obsessed, it's like, well, this stuff kept happening. We have to keep talking about it. And then the movie then tilts into this almost Kafka, for me, became this kind of Kafkaesque nightmare of, the rules about what you can and can't talk about, and the way the CIA and some of the other people in defense are spinning the way things were happening. Meanwhile, the guys that were the psychologists,
the
right,
Air Force psychologists, the contractor,
right, got paid like $80 million for this stuff
to devise this.
That it never really worked. And yeah, I found this effective for what it was setting out to do. I think that it could have been a little bit tighter, and I think it does have a challenge in that it's taking a very dry experience and trying to dramatize it, but I was on board with it.
I felt like the only sense of anxiety I felt was like there's so much information coming at you that I felt like, should I be taking notes? Is this all going to be on the final exam? Like, I felt like you needed to like really, really pay attention to get it all. And it was sort of like C-SPAN with an all-star cast. It felt kind of dull to me.
Yeah.
Kind of dry. Kind of dull.
No, I was more into it. I didn't think
I'm
it was that
saying
dull.
5.2. I mean, it's a great cast. It's like, again, and Annette Bening like has the hair and the glasses and like the demeanor of Dianne Feinstein, but doesn't really get to break out of that into any kind of variable performance. John Hamm is in it. Ted Levine is really good as a former CIA director, John Brennan.
Yeah. No, I
People are good in it.
yeah, I thought this was good.
All right. Yeah, I'm saying 5.2.
I gave it what did I give it? 7.5?
Yeah. So we're
7.5?
6.4. It's 84% on the tomato meter, and that's because of me.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Don't see it.
Okay.
I don't know. It's okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm blah on it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. You can follow us on social media at BeFastAllDay, at all of the relevant handles, or all of the relevant platforms.
All
I
the
should
places.
Say. All the places. Also, join our Patreon, or else. Because if you don't join, the or else is you can't see us talk about The Mandalorian or Watchmen or The Morning Show or his Dark Materials, which we're not that excited about, but you should totally join because that's what the cool kids do. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with more movies.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.